Most people think investing in the Counter-Strike market is complicated, risky, and almost impossible to get into, but what if that's not actually true? In this video I'm starting from scratch with $1,000 and building a full CS investment portfolio step by step. The challenge is pretty simple: can I turn that 1k into a smart diversified setup that actually has long-term potential and not just rely on Chinese pump and dumps? Because here's the reality: with thousands of items, constant updates from Valve, and a market driven entirely by player sentiment, it's incredibly easy to make the wrong move and lose a big chunk of your money. So how do you avoid that? In this video I will showcase how I would spread $1,000 across different categories, answering the questions about what I'd buy and more importantly why. And maybe the bigger question is, can you actually enjoy your investments while they grow instead of just letting them sit in your inventory? Now this video isn't financial advice, it's just my thoughts. So just because I say it, don't go out and invest your money into these skins. I am just a random guy on the internet. But yeah, also let's quickly talk about Counter-Strike in-game items as an investment. As I'm sure you're aware, Counter-Strike is just a game where you can play with your skins in-game, but they also have real monetary value, meaning you can sell your skins for real cash. Because it's just a game, there is great risk involved. The studio behind the game, Valve, can make an update that will nuke the price of a specific item. This has also happened several times in the past, and therefore my first advice would be that if you're a new investor, consider buying stocks before anything else. A global index fund would be the smartest play for the average person and would have a lot less risk than buying virtual skins, because I can't stress this enough, it's virtual items, the value entirely depends on user sentiment. If no one is playing Counter-Strike, skins would not be worth anything, but I know you're not here for that reason, so let's get on with it. But before we go any further, let's take a look at buff.market. You all probably know about Buff 163, which is most likely the best market out there. Well, they also have a solution for Westerners. Buff.market is a giant peer-to-peer marketplace, which makes it possible to find many good deals and get your skins as fast as possible. I've actually used Buff.market in the past to sell some high tier skins because of their low selling fee, which is only 2.5%. And also I could sell these high tier skins for more than I could on other marketplaces, so it was a great success. Use the top link in the description to get started on your Buff.market journey. So another thing when it comes to investing into skins is that volatility on Counter-Strike investments is huge and we often see manipulation, especially from China. So in regards to the previous advice, you also shouldn't be risking anything you can't afford to lose. And of course this goes with any investments you're making, if it's stocks, crypto or skins. Don't go out using this month's rent to buy skins, because if the worst case scenario hits, you're homeless. But yeah, that's pretty given. So now that you know the simplest advice in investing, let's move on to how I would spend $1,000 in Counter-Strike items. I like to preach diversification. Don't just put all your money in one basket, because this carries a lot of risk. Let's say you put all your money into rare special items, so maybe an insane knife or a knife glove combo. Well, when the gold trade-up update hit, you'd instantly lose 50% of your money. If you on the other hand had $1,000 in Orc Chameleons, yes, it's very unrealistic, I know, but please play along, you'd actually instantly 15x your money and have $15,000.
Alex, what's that on your wrist?
I call her chandelier.
That is all great, but let's be honest, who the hell would have ever thought that covert trade-ups were coming and invest $1,000 in a shit skin? Literally no one. The last example I'll be making is patches. Say you invested $1,000 in patches 6 years ago and kept them loyally in your inventory. Today you'd have about the same, minus the inflation, which is 29%. You see the point I'm making? There's a lot of risk to just YOLO all in on one item and even one category, like if you only invested into cases or agents. Therefore you should spread your investments out to more categories. Yeah, let's get started with my investments. Agents. So I love agents as an investment. I think they are painfully cheap right now, down about 44% from their peak. So I would invest $150 or 15% of the portfolio into agents. You can go for different types, going for some unique ones that you find value in. So no sleeve agents, female agents, etc. $150 goes a long way in this market. And that's why I spread my money out on 6 different agents, which I see some potential in the future. Moving on to collections with $200. When I say collection skins, you might be thinking about some of the most expensive skins out there: Gungnir's, Dragonlords, White Lotuses, and so on. But you can also buy some cheaper skins that aren't actively being dropped. If you don't know where to start, just find a high tier skin you like from a discontinued collection, like the AK Gold Arabesque from the 2021 Dust 2 collection. Now that skin is way too expensive for this portfolio, but you can look at some of the other skins with a lower quality in that collection. As an example, there's the classified skin, the M4A4 Red DD Pad, which looks kinda nice. So it doubles as a play skin, which I personally like myself. because if it's a play skin, you also feel like you get more value from it because you're actually playing the game and enjoying the skin. But this M4 you can buy for $16, and I use buff.market for the price references, but you can use whatever you like. You should also consider souvenirs as well. They have the exact same purpose as regular skins now because of the recent souvenir trade-up update, but a lot of the time they're at a lower price, and some even look better with the gold stickers. But yeah, 20% into this and spread towards lower quality skins and buy from different collections, and I would also look for skins that I would enjoy playing with for a long time. So 5 skins I picked, and 4 of them are souvenir because they are cheaper, and then I picked some skins that you actively use in the game like a M4, AWP, AK, Glock, and a Mac-10. So talking about play skins, I would also invest 20%, so $200 into a knife or maybe a knife glove combo. This is meant to be a safe investment where the value will come from enjoyment by playing with the skins, and I also feel there's no way Valve will do more dumb shit to golds, so I'd pick something like the Ursus Fade, and you can also go for Huntsman Marvel Fade in the same price category. And it's not because they will rise like 500% the coming years, but I will get enjoyment from playing with them, and golds are basically at an all-time low, so it could also rise some percentages. And as I said, you can also go for $100 into a knife and $100 into a pair of gloves, but I just picked a Ursus Knife Fade. Moving on to the next investment, which will fill 15%, which is cases. Cases have been one of the safest and best investments through the Counter-Strike market's history, and therefore it will of course fill some in my $1,000 portfolio. I will go for cases that have nice skins in them, especially the gold needs to be good. So Prisma case is a good contender, nice knives, nice cohorts, and at an affordable price of only $1.40. Other than this, I will also be buying some Dreams and Nightmare cases. These are still actively being dropped, but the maximum in this case is the Butterfly Emerald, and I'm hoping this case will be removed in the future. So at $1.22, I think it's a pretty nice. And then for some more diversification, I also bought the Fracture and the Revolution case. Now we have the next investment where I've gone with $100 into stickers and capsules. This is also a big part of the Counter-Strike ecosystem, so 10% of the portfolio into this category I think is a fair choice. I've gone with a 70% split into capsules and a 30% split into stickers. Capsules might be removed from the game forever, and at Paris Capsules' dirt cheap price there is room for improvement, even though it might take some years. I also went with some OG stickers like the Furia 2019 Holo, which is an absolutely banging sticker, and then a 2015 Kato versus Pro paper, just for the OG diversity in there. You could also spread even further and expand on this instead of only picking 4 items, but I think this will do for the portfolio. Moving on to Armory items, where I chose to spend $100. The Armory is very unsure at the moment, but you never know how these items will look in the future, so I wanted to do at least something. Here I also chose 2 skins that doubles as play skins from 2 of the collection that are next to leave the Armory, the Galil Rainbow Spoon and Tech 9 Whiteout. I also chose some charms which you can also attach to weapons and use, which is extremely nice. And at last I picked some Chrome Dome stickers, which I find extremely nice, but you can also try to go and find some other stickers like maybe the Rainbow Holo. But I think $100 is fair enough for the Armory being so big and these skins being kinda nice. Now the last $100 I would spend is on miscellaneous stuff, so these are items that I haven't really covered and just some niche stuff. For example, I put in the Stockholm Patches pack, which is super random. It's basically the only packs with team patches, and I thought they were kinda cheap, so that's basically the whole point with that category, to find some lottery tickets that not a lot of people are talking about and then invest a small amount into that. I also added some souvenir packages, but I left the rest open because maybe you have something super niche that you'd like to share in the comment. But yeah, that was how I would invest $1,000. The main takeaway would be that you should diversify by different categories and not just $500 into cases and $500 into Armory skins. Other than that, I also think it's very nice to get some play skins because these you will be enjoying while playing the game, and therefore it has a double use case, both as an investment but also as a play skin, which I really like. And that has also worked out really well for me when I've invested. But yeah, I will definitely be returning to this portfolio in the future to see how it has played out. As you probably know though, Counter-Strike investing is risky, so there is no guarantees. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.